I want to try to amend one thing, and I want to explain this. I move 004 and ask it for it to be displayed.
One moment. L004 is properly displayed. Representative Bottoms.
Thank you, Chair. So this is my argument here. Of anybody in this room, this is my space, right? This bill is directly affecting my space. And I can explain, what I'm trying to do is take out the word principally. So instead of principally trying to limit how someone might categorize that religious space as principally being for religious purposes, I want to explain a little bit. This doesn't affect me directly because of the way my church is designed, but it will affect a lot of churches. Many of you have meetings in churches. These are political type meetings. You're just using that space as a space. You're not using it as a church or a religious group or anything like that. And what a lot of churches do, some churches only use their facilities for their own needs, and they don't let the public use them. Our church, we let the public use our space for free for many, many different things. And many churches do this. And so what happens is, if you have the word principally in there, let's say a church has only a Sunday morning service. And most churches nowadays, that's what they do. They have one Sunday morning service. My church has multiple Sunday services, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Tuesday night, Sunday night services. So we wouldn't apply to this. But what happens is if you can prove that the Boy Scouts or the AA group, or our church has an NA group, if you can prove that all those things are taking up more of the calendar and the time, then somebody could use this bill, which I think is a good bill, and it does a good job of protecting the nonprofit space and specifically protecting churches. I think it does a good job of that. But if somebody could prove that this religious organizational building is being used for more time-wise than church services, then this bill would actually be used against churches to have a political event or something at the church. And so my argument is just take out principally. It still needs to, the idea
Bottoms,
is
I'm going to interrupt you for just a moment. If everyone in the chamber could please quiet down so we can all hear. Thank you so much. Representative Bottoms.
I couldn't tell, I'm kind of loud. But if you leave the word principally in there, it potentially harms the ability to have, for you and I, to have political type things in church buildings, because the word principally actually limits that scope quite a bit. Most churches, guys, and you just think about the church you go to, most churches have way more events at their church than church services. Again, my church doesn't, but I'm structured a little differently. And so I would just like to present this, and hopefully I can talk you into just taking the word principally out, and the rest of the bill is actually good after that word is taken out. And so I urge an aye vote on 004.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
And an honor to serve with you.
I rise in opposition to this amendment as someone who also has completed an MDiv degree and who also was ordained clergy in the church. And I'd like to briefly express to you why. This language is actually something that if we strike it from statute, and it is current statute, it would put Colorado statute out of line with IRS guidance on how churches engage in certain activities. The IRS is fairly clear that you can have conversations and you can provide your space for different activities, including political activities. It cannot constitute the majority of the activity that you do as a congregation. So to strike this language ultimately puts us out of line with IRS guidance, and I would suggest actually jeopardizes the ability of any congregation to engage in this space in a way that is meaningful. I think this language is an important delineation that keeps Colorado statute in line with IRS guidance. And so while I support the ability of congregations to engage in different ways here, mine certainly have, I don't believe that striking this language is actually a good idea, and I think it has an unintended consequence that extends far beyond this amendment. So I would ask for a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Bottoms.
Just for correction purposes, that was all wrong. 501c3 status does not declare this in the state law the way that he said. In fact, the word principally here has always been a point of contention in the 501c3 status legally. That's why it's being sued right now, because it's already been noticed as being wrong. And that's why when churches talk about this and they use this, going back to the Johnson Amendment, which was struck down, this is wrong in that case. That is the old way of thinking about it, but that's not the legal, proper way of thinking about it.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage